Join Time Magazine's lead education reporter alongside global educators and advocates to explore the impacts of teaching forgiveness.
I teach forgiveness because it can have a positive impact in my students' families.
It helps my students thrive in the face of adversity.
Students who can forgive are happier.
Join us to hear from teachers and thought leaders on how and why to include forgiveness in your classroom.
Temperature rise will bring widespread devastation and unprecedented extreme weather.
New coronavirus cases emerge across the country.
Obesity rates have more than doubled in kids.
Cape Town is running out of water.
Good evening and a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. By way of introduction, my name is Sandra Magdalene and I will be the moderator for this event. This evening, you will have the pleasure of hearing from 3 teachers of SMK Bangsar. Before I invite them to deliver their presentations, allow me to give you a brief background of SMK Bangsar. This school is located in central Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and was established on the 1st of January 1974 to accommodate the increasing population of the Bangsar area. The school started with 5 classes, which has now steadily grown to 25 classes and a special education needs department. The population of the school currently stands at 659 pupils and 64 teachers. SMK Bangsar joined the Trust School program under the auspices of the Ministry of Education, which is managed by Leap Ed Services, Sendirian Berhad. The Trust School program supports SMK Bangsar across 5 dimensions, being leadership, qualitative pedagogy, student development, parental and community involvements, and effective school systems. The principal of SMK Bangsar is Madam Ramla Binti Muda, who is supported by the other team leaders as per the slide before you. Today's topic is conquering challenges to continue learning. Like many other countries worldwide, tens of thousands of schools across Malaysia had to be closed since March 2020 due to the COVID-19 lockdown. Consequently, teachers faced and are still facing significant challenges in adapting to online teaching and maintaining a level of communication with students and providing support for their learning and development. This shift required teachers to quickly adapt to online teaching, requiring them to use various digital tools and resources to solve a variety of problems and at the same time implement new approaches. This global crisis has also been an extraordinary time for learning for both students and teachers alike. Schools have had to maintain constant communication with caregivers and at the same time focus on professional development programs. Educators needed to identify the challenges and obstacles of e-learning during this time, utilizing the best methods and modes to engage with and motivate learners. Teachers are constantly being exposed to widely used platforms and applications that can assist in enhancing and reinforcing education during this pandemic. As we can see, every time there's a challenge, an organization is forced to be creative to promote growth, which is in this case refers to growth among teachers, which, if not carried out, would adversely impact their pupils. We have with us 3 speakers from SMK Bangsar, Madam Yogini Satkunanda Sivam, Madam Vanida Krishna, and Madam Noor Akmal Ahmad, who will be sharing their views on these very crucial issues with reference to the needs, strengths, challenges, and ways in which SMK Bangsar needed to undertake in moving forward. Oh yes, before we start, a reminder to all present here. Kindly use the hashtag worldedu.week when sharing any information related to this conference on social media. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Madam Yogini as the first speaker today. Her role here today is to talk on the importance of continuing professional development that's given to serving teachers at SMK Bangsar. She will touch on coaching, mentoring, support for individual members of staff, and school development activities. Thanks to the growth of online teaching, continuing professional development, and PLC come in a variety of forms. This is where our esteemed speaker, Madam Yogini, will give you a brief insight on how CPD and PLC are carried out and its overall impact. Over to you, Madam Yogini.
Thank you, Madam Magdalene. It gives me great pleasure to represent SMK Bangsar tonight. I will continue with my topic, where I will actually take you all on a journey to see how SMK Bangsar has transformed the teaching and learning. And then I will go into how the teachers themselves transform. And finally, I will share with you who was responsible or made all these possible. Let me start by sharing on how the worldwide pandemic has resulted in schools being shut down worldwide. No one had foreseen that such an evolution of medical emergency would take us on a journey that would require for the education system to evolve. But the evolution and transition from chalkboard to student-centered 21st century teaching and learning was in for a radical transformation. Although schools were already in the technological era in education, but the next phase was a roller coaster ride for those who were not prepared. For the system to succeed, the teaching and learning had to be revolutionized. DELIMA, or Digital Educational Learning Initiative Malaysia, was refreshed and upgraded in June 2020 to meet the demands. The platform became the foundation of the Malaysian educational transformation to change how students are taught. If there is a truth about the human spirit, it's that we are resilient. Globally, 1.2 billion students needed to get their education. In Malaysia, the number is 5.4 million. Adapting quickly to the demands, SMK Bangsar with 64 teachers and 659 students rose to the challenge. Let me take you on this expedition of how SMK Bangsar has transformed to conquer the challenges to continue learning. We will look at this from transformation of teaching and learning, transformation of teachers, and who were responsible to make this possible. Taking the monumental journey into the world of online classrooms was ensuring teaching and learning was taking place in an effective and fun way. The teaching could not retrograde back to chalk and talk in a digital era with just sharing screens and reciting information. It had to be accessible, enjoyable, inclusive and interactive. Dr. Habibah binti Abdul Rahim from Ministry of Education put it in a nutshell by saying that it was crucial that the students were empowered and prepared for lifelong learning with future skills and competencies to be employable in Malaysia and globally. Research has shown for online learning to be effective, it needs to be fun, stimulating and interactive with various platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom and Microsoft Teams being available. The ministry trained the trainers to coach teachers and to use DELIMA as a platform. The school looked into issues faced by every student and teacher. Starting off with teaching and learning online, the teachers discovered the students' issues were lacking gadgets to learn virtually and motivation to learn online. To address these issues, teachers used creative methods of sharing work by leaving modules at the school guardhouse or posting them directly to the students who did not have the gadgets. Later, the issue was solved by reaching out to the community to obtain gadgets to ensure more students had access to online learning. The latter issue of the students' mental health was key to the students' well-being, thus it was taken very seriously by the school administrators and counsellors. These mental and emotional issues were monitored constantly by the class teachers and school counsellors by looking into student attendance and keeping in touch with parents on the students' progress. Meeting everyone was not an easy task, but counsellors found a way of sending short videos with inspirational messages to help the students cope with the new norm of the COVID pandemic. Tips and messages on handling stress and family issues were shared via videos too. The teachers, on the other hand, needed to be trained, to be interactive, to use interactive teaching and learning tools. This was crucial as the backbone of effective learning and online teaching and learning is the success of interactive aspect of it. The interactive teaching tools included Kahoot, Padlet, live worksheets, whiteboard FI, Sidekick, Wordwall, Pear Deck, and quizzes. The e-learning had to cater to all learning styles. Teachers used YouTube videos and personal teacher input to share the knowledge. However, it was crucial that students remember and understand what they learned. The interactive teaching and learning tools ensured student engagement in a fun, interesting, and effective manner. The beauty of e-learning is that students who cannot keep up with the work online can go at it offline at their own pace. Teachers share the work both online with Google Meet, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, as well as offline using Telegram, WhatsApp, and Google Classroom. Co-academic activities and launching of programs were also ongoing to ensure well-balanced students were in the making. Although the library was not accessible online, virtual libraries were shared as we do believe that reading maketh a man. The Nilam program in Malaysia is a very important program to ensure students are constantly books. Through the virtual libraries and Google Forms, the students were monitored on their reading. Avid readers received awards during Library Week and year-end prize-giving day. Next, in order to take teaching and learning to the next level, flipped classrooms where students share and present projects and findings were part of the day-to-day scenario. This was to make students responsible for their lifelong learning and country's future needs. All these are making of our students to take huge strides in digital transformation and future readiness, even though they are not setting foot in the traditional classroom at all. Students have amazed everyone with teacher quality presentations. Some of these include movie reviews, health talks, creative poems, and even public speaking. This prepares our students for their future workspace where a borderless cyber world is the new norm. Transformation of teachers took place with continuous professional development and professional learning communities. The first step was to conduct surveys taking into consideration the teachers' feedback on their challenges, which provided a stage for their voice to be heard about how they felt and exactly what was needed to be done. This became the basis for the transformation. Looking into their emotional well-being was very important to LibEd and the school administrators, as they are the frontliners where education is concerned. This made it an easy transition for the teachers, as transformation can be amazing but overwhelming at the same time too. Teachers were trained by the SLTs or the senior leadership team and MLTs, the middle leader team. The training was done in large groups by LibEd and SLTs and MLTs and smaller groups of MLTs and 4 to 5 teachers. This means that we had big and large groups where there were teaching that was done in a very big group, as well as to make it more effective. They had smaller groups where the MLTs trained the teachers to make it more effective. This was an ongoing process. Teachers were trained with engaging and hands-on activities, both online as well as face-to-face, adhering strictly to SOP during the pandemic. These included workshops, Teach Smart, and AFL or Assessment for Learning. AFL was fundamental in ensuring teaching and learning was monitoring student progress regularly, and it was a benchmark to determine if the current instruction and intervention is positively impacting student achievement or if adjustments were needed to be implemented. This is the best feedback for teachers on the effectiveness of the lessons. This made CPD more effective, as they were in various groups doing PLC all the time. The training started from top to bottom, but learning never stops. So teachers too started sharing their interpretive, latest and effective teaching tools, making the teaching and learning explode in all directions. The teachers started collaborating with each other during lessons, so the students get the best, as each teacher has different expertise. In addition, SMK Bangsar has also collaborated with 5 other schools in the Federal Territory to aid in sharing teacher expertise and best practices. This CPD and PLC is still ongoing till today. The teachers of SMK Bangsar have risen to meet the road of online teaching and learning with a will to transform both teaching and learning. Here, I'd like to emphasize Bill Gates' words. Technology is just a tool in terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them. The teacher is the most important. Finally, let's look at who made it possible. Initially, this teaching and learning transformation was made possible by the Ministry of Education. The Dilemma platform is the foundation of all that is possible today. The support and sharing of best practices and feedback by the State Education Department of Federal Territory Kuala Lumpur or JPWP and the District Education Department of Bangsar Pudu has taken it even higher. LibEd is an NGO that has been spurring SMK Bangsar on by giving us support to take education in the 21st century to the next level. They have the students and teachers' best interests at heart by providing support in every phase and stage of this transformation. SLTs, who are the school administrators, and MLTs have been shadowing the teachers, coaching and mentoring on the sidelines by providing the best feedback on lesson plans, observations from time to time, and providing support to take teaching and learning to the next level. At SMK Bangsar, even the lesson plans are uploaded online. The translation took place in January 2021. So we have been preparing and have been making sure that we are online and we are ready and moving forward. In a nutshell, SMK Bangsar has overcome the challenge of teaching during the COVID pandemic by transforming the teaching and learning process, transforming the teachers with the help and support of the Education Ministry of Malaysia, State and District Department, NGOs like LibEd, and the administrators and teachers. Let me leave you with this line from Helen Keller. Alone, we can do little, but together, we can do so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Yogini, for your invaluable input. I have to say, I totally agree where teachers were given platforms where they could voice and express the challenges or issues that they faced, like an outlet for discussion, one of the very important issues that should not be overlooked. At SMK Bangsar, the importance of continuous support is without a doubt a great help as it improves the quality of the teaching and learning process. Moving on, it is a known fact that this global pandemic has caused the field of education to change dramatically with a distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. So how would such a shift impact student involvement and participation in co-curricular and co-academic activities? To get answers to these questions, it gives me great pleasure to invite our second speaker, Madam Vanida, to present here. Over to you, Madam Vanida.
Thank you, Madam Magdalene. Hello, Assalamualaikum, and Salam Sejahtera, everyone. I'm truly honored to be here in this space with all of you. Esteemed audience, fellow presenters, ladies and gentlemen, are students learning during the pandemic? Are they involved, participating, and engaged in learning? This has been a matter of great concern to many people. That was the question given. I'm sure most of you will agree with me that the pandemic has significantly affected and altered our lives. In the education field, it has resulted in school closure across the world. Students are out of the classroom, and we have had to adapt to new types of learning. A lot of changes were made. Changes in the learning environment, the way teachers teach, how students learn, and how learning is assessed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you some quick facts about our learning context in SMK Bangsar. If you were to search us up on the map, the digital map, you can see that SMK Bangsar is a secondary school located right in the middle of an affluent district in the city of Kuala Lumpur. Our students are teenagers, 13 to 17 years old, and based on our enrollment data, we know that 95% of our students are socio-economically categorized as urban poor. Even before the COVID-19, we were struggling between our expectations for our students and the reality in terms of resources and achievements. And we came to realize that increase in access to education and being in school does not mean learning. Therefore, to answer this question, ladies and gentlemen, today on behalf of the school, I would like to share with you what works in SMK Bangsar, what still works, and also what you can see in our work. Without further ado, let's have a look at the first slide. The PDPR classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, PDPR is the Malaysian education acronym for home-based learning. And in order to ensure the success of teaching and learning from home, our school structured a special PDPR timetable, highly taking into consideration the needs of our group of students. And this timetable sets the pace for teaching and learning to happen systematically with a balanced time allocation for both synchronous as well as asynchronous learning to take place. And allocation of time for live classroom teaching and learning as well as tutorial work were in the timetable. To happen daily from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon throughout the school year while we are under the pandemic lockdown. As you can see in this slide, we have 3 focus areas in our virtual learning environment: communication, classroom management, as well as assessment. We made sure that we establish a sure line of communication between the school and the students. Groups on WhatsApp and Telegram to parents by subjects in class were formed. Students helped by quickly adding their classmates to the group once the groups were set up. This move was also coordinated by the teacher coordinators in the school for each form, mainly for the new enrolled students. Well, in the beginning, messages containing announcement notifications were most of the time redundant and posed a great challenge to the group members to prioritize throughout the day. And we have missed classes from parents, messages from students, and also teachers having to reallocate time for the missed classes. By the time the first PDPR class commenced, classroom interaction in live lessons take center stage. And this live classroom is being supported by a tutorial time, which is done synchronously, mainly in the Google Classroom formed by the teachers. Teachers make sure that the tasks given to the students are doable and find creative ways by using free online applications that students can access to, as well as make use to show learning happen. Attendance for live learning sessions were made easy with Google Forms, and lately it was easier when it was auto-recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see in this slide also says that we have assessments online. And when we say assessments online, that means we assess the students' growth, not punishing them for not attending or not doing their work. Whatever small growth that we detect as teachers in the school, for the students, the growth of students, we will definitely put them as mark of progress. And this actually formed a line of trust between the teenagers in the school, that teachers actually do not punish them, but they're very supportive for their insecurities in their learning. So when they have formed this kind of trust with the teachers, and they know that the tasks are doable, they find ways to be connected to their friends in the lessons. Extracurricular activities during the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, extracurricular activities in our school have fully shifted online since March. To date, all the extracurricular activities in this club, the games, sports, uniformed bodies, or co-academic clubs and societies have all achieved the required 12 meets for the year. Every Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 6 in the evening is allocated for extracurricular meet and activities. You can see the same three factors considered in the PDPR classroom in our implementation of the extracurricular activities online. We know that being connected is important. We know that in the extracurricular activities that we can see students to take part in many roles, and we actually make sure that we empower these students, the members of the clubs, members of the societies, to take leadership roles. And we celebrate achievements by giving feedbacks, although it's virtual feedbacks, sometimes as simple as a virtual hugs or a virtual clap. And this kind of interaction that we have online with the students actually made the bond of learning stronger. So you can see in this picture, in the middle of the slide, is a picture of a student. And he is the first student voice group president for the school. So actually, the whole bond or the whole idea of taking into consideration that students are be connected to the club, to the school, in extracurricular activities, being in leadership roles, and celebrate their achievements in any level that we can, is actually not to punish them or not to make them burdened with learning. We are trying to get their engagement. We are trying to get their participation. And we say that when participating in activities for learning, they get rewarded. That is the center idea. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that there are a lot of words in the second slide. Words about volunteering, words about proposing activities, words on being put that representing the school. These are all activities being done in person when prior to the COVID-19. And this is also continued in the online activities that we did this year. So you can see that students actually take center stage, not the teacher advisors, take center stage and form their own groups for the clubs. We have top committee members from the clubs that actually promote the participation of students, promote the participation from school to other schools. So this kind of values or this kind of skills can only come because they modeled from what they see and what they experience in the consistent PDPR lesson that we have. Having the PDPR lesson together with the extracurricular activities actually helps the student as well as the teacher to get the students be in the loop of learning. And from here, we can actually see that students want to be connected. They will find a way when they think and when they see that they can contribute. As you can see from the slides that the first speaker has already given, it's evident that students, teachers are actually doing a lot of activities, and all those are learning activities. In SMK Bangsar, you can see our students learning. How? Well, prior to COVID-19, all classrooms in our school were transformed into subject-based classrooms, or in short, the SBC. In the English language SBC, for instance, we used to have a feature board pasted with words and phrases taken from students' comments to and from their peers. That rings a bell, right? If you're an English teacher or a language teacher. Well, the words that get to be pasted on the board are kind, constructive words. That's the rule. And over the period of a school year, these words keep building up, filling up the board in the classroom. Every time the student comes into this classroom, look at the board, they get to broaden their vocabulary in English. They are also reminded of all the positive, amazing qualities and characteristics they possess, which is, of course, a big confidence booster to anyone, especially our teenagers. I think, therefore I am. This year, our students decided to have the board virtually. And this particular word cloud that you see in this slide is an online collaborative effort by the students in the English language club this year. Students understand that learning is work of progress. So that's why you can see the words in English mixed up with some words which are not in English, Latin mainly. When complete, this word cloud design will consist of 130 nouns, verbs, adjectives that describe the qualities, characteristics, values that the members understood and have learned together as club members. Members told me they plan to use this word cloud to promote future club and activities. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a learning loop that we cannot deny. So what can we see? What can you see in SMK Bangsar students? We can see students who are in leadership roles, students who practice good communication skills with others, students who are adept at digital skills for learning, students who volunteer to experience learning, students who are connected to learning communities and work in teams, groups to learn and co-create learning. We see SMK Bangsar students as students who are continuously learning. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed audience, in these last two slides that I have here with me, we can see presented a collage of images, which are just a few of our precious captured moments of learning. And these visual learning evidences highlight how we see learning during the pandemic. You know now, by looking at these slides, that social distancing does not mean staying away and not making connection. Not present does not mean one cannot contribute. And to participate is to reflect and help to plan for the next. We believe that students find learning meaningful, and when they do, they will find a way to stay connected, be involved, and contribute. With this note, I would like to express my humble gratitude to my wonderful colleagues, teachers, and friends in the school for letting me share our precious experiences in making learning happen. To our principal, Puan Ramlah binti Muda, senior leaders and middle leaders in the school, thank you for your flexibility and understanding leadership. Mr. Shahrudin and team, I know you're watching us. And the PTA alumni, thank you for your strong, consistent support to the school's mission. Our learning partners, Madam Florence, Mr. Aizuddin, Mr. Abby, and the team from LIPAC, thank you for your unwavering belief and trust in us. On behalf of this partnership, our special thanks also goes to our friends at the Ministry, Education Departments, District Specialists, and coaches. Thank you for your continuous support despite our oversights and shortcomings. Our families throughout Malaysia and across the regions, thank you for your patience and du'as for our well-beings. To all of you who are still watching this, thank you. Stay tuned for more. Over to you, Madam Magdalene.
A big thank you, Madam Vanida, for the very informative session, specifically of classroom management and pupils' engagement. As for the co-curricular activities, though carried out online, pupils actually look forward to it. They are happy to showcase their leadership skills, and this is seen when they organize a working committee and when they're able to manage meetings, just as what our speaker had mentioned earlier. Students show empowerment when they're able to collaborate across clubs and groups. Now moving on. Resources are very useful as they are supporting tools in teaching and learning, especially so during this trying period. Our next speaker will focus on how school activities are carried out with the help of other organizations and collaborations with schools that have similar developmental needs. Needless to say, a large number of students were hit hard during this pandemic. How was support possible? What sort of assistance was given in terms of support and collaboration from parents, the community, or perhaps with other schools? To furnish us with these answers, I would like to call upon our third speaker for the day, Madam Noor Akmal. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Madam Magdalene. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to all. It's a kind of pleasant by giving me this opportunity. Right, explaining to the issue. Throughout this pandemic era, in the midst of facing challenges, just like how others are, teachers have worked hard to minimize the numbers of students who have been left behind in various aspects. Besides facing challenges in the teaching learning process itself, we have worked relentlessly to ensure that students receive holistic education as well as morally support by schools and community. Therefore, every bit of contribution that the school has received has been successfully channeled to those chosen students in a very transparent and fair way by taking into account their socio-economic background. Basically, our school comprises a total of 660 students, which from 598 students are in the mainstreams, while 62 students are part of the special education programs. So all students were taken into account in the shortlisting process for the assistance. We receive contribution from individual, corporate, government agency, as well as non-governmental agency, which of course assisted by our parents and teachers association, the PTA as the main coordinator and the ever loyal teacher of itself. So let me talk on the various supports that we receive in which may result in students' performance during these crucial years. So among the collaboration and supports includes the collaboration between PTA and Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB. Basically, Tenaga Nasional Berhad has been constantly being our corporate social responsibility partner since 2018. So recently, with the effort from the schools and PTA, 50 unaffordable students in Form 5 receive Samsung tablet each for their PDPR or online school usage. So these affected students are somehow facing difficulties where they have no gadget, or some of them have to share with another siblings, or a limited access to the internet to join the online classes. And it's quite hard. So this contribution of these tablets somehow help a lot to these affected students to do preparation towards their XPM examination. So they can consistently focus to their online classes as well as exploring many information regards to their subject with their own gadget. To the matter of this, at least we as a teacher can hear something good from them, or at least they can no longer say, teacher, I cannot join the class because my parents are working and I'm sharing the device. You see, we help them by solving a part of their problem, and indirectly we are encouraging them to study hard for their potential bright future. So not even that, there are some cash allowances also given to them in a way to help them to buy some education necessaries like reference or exercise books related to their subject, stationery and so on, without involving their pocket money. Secondly, we do collaborate with Mara Foundation. Unfortunately, this content is not in the slide, but let me just continue on it. Mara has contributed a sum of money to the Parent and Teachers Association in the quest to avoid students from dropping out of schools. So these sums of allocation, especially to a group of 120 Form 5 students who will be sitting for SPM this year, 2021. So the nature of the collaboration itself is just like the same that we received earlier from a TNB. But this time, the numbers of students enjoy this opportunity become wider. The PTA has taken a wise move of conducting extra classes for all of our Form 5 students. So basically, the money contributed has been used as a tuition fees and for the preparation of teaching materials for the duration of the extra class itself. Right, literally, we can say education is free for all. But technically, it is an expensive tool for a successful, bright future. So this matter may look small to some people, but for those affected, they might feel fortunate enough to get extra classes without burdening their parents. Why? It is simply because not all parents are affordable to pay for extra classes or tuition fees. Okay? And some of them might skip their meals and struggling for their daily life. So at least by these contributions, we are helping them in many ways. Parents may channel this extra money to some of other kids in the family for education matters, and these fortunate students can still going for extra classes for free. Ladies and gentlemen, our school again being overwhelmed by the kindness shown by the Datuk Seri Utama Raja Nongchi Zainal Abidin, our former Federal Territories Minister. He has donated smartphone to our 165 students, and yes, it's a big figure. It's enjoyed by 165 students. So this smartphone not only distributed to 141 students from the mainstreams, but also to our 25 special need students in our schools. And again, these contributions helps a lot to our affected students who basically hardly to join the online classes. The limited device may somehow lead them to dropping out of schools. So these specific contributions help them to stay back on track, just like other students are doing. And we, as a teacher, truly and sincerely hope that students will be able to undergo lesson conducively from their home. To the audience, Despite from that, as you can see in the picture, in the slide, the school, together with PTA under the counselling unit, consistently engaging community and charity program under its Ziarah Chakna special program. So among the program breakdown is visiting students, home and family by knowing their domestic problems and absolutely their financial status. Okay, let me give you one example. During this pandemic, there is one of our special needs students who has lost not only one, but both of the parents, mother and father, subsequently in 3 weeks. She lost her father 3 weeks after the mother died. So this strong special needs student of us basically lost her place of dependence. And what did we do to support her? Now come back. The collaboration between the PTA, teachers and parents donate some of money. So the students receive some cash and hamper donation as a sign of our strong support from the schools, community and parents. This little help might help her to reduce her sudden burden and creating pleasant feeling at least for her next day. So on the top of this, special canteen coupon also given to needed students to redeem during a recess hour and a program called Gerobok Rezeki to facilitate among the B40 pupils. Why? The question is why? Because there are students who are not affordable to bring school pocket money. And just imagine how would they be in starving the whole day in school. So this tiny help can at least help them to still have some food during the recess hours. And the result of this, they can be more focused in the class during the learning process. So what do we have? Finally, at last and not at least, we are lucky enough to receive a kind of support by collaborating with other trust schools. The senior leader trainer, which is also known as SLT in our school, received the most crucial support via Amalan Baik to ensure better achievement in leadership and school operations. So these collaborations with Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Lundu and Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuching give a very positive impact on leadership, teaching, as well as mentoring skills. So the SLT been exposed to how to conduct teaching and learning via online platform, as well as to do lessons observation as a part of support to the other teachers. And the result from this collaboration, the SLT somehow getting better understanding and ideas, as well as in adapting a few good practices to our teachers and schools. So basically, it will help us to be more effective in our teaching. So as I can conclude from my part, we teachers and parents group, the PTA, has contributed time and effort just to ensure our school to be on the upfront and being grateful to help other students and each other. We only hope Our effort may result in students' education achievement and become a useful man one day, inshallah. So thank you very much to our principal and our presidents of PTA for helping a lot. This is all from me. Thank you very much. Hand over to you, Madam Mag. Thank you.
Thank you for the invaluable input, Madam Nur Akmal, where you touched on the contributions to the school, assistance from PTA, SLT, and LEAP-ED, and of course from teachers too. Samsung tablets and mobile phones were also distributed to the less fortunate to help facilitate online learning. Like our speaker mentioned, the B40 group comprising of the most vulnerable low-income households were given assistance in the form of food hampers. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, based on what we have heard from the three speakers, we can summarize what they have said so far into 5 main areas. The first is needs analysis to produce high-impact programs and activities. Second, utilizing internet expertise. This is followed by adopting a lifelong learning concept. The fourth, impactful external collaboration involving teachers and students. And lastly, external collaboration and support with parents and the community. Knowing and acknowledging the challenges educators face in these uniquely difficult circumstances, with proper navigation and support, we will all be able to get through this very difficult time. Ladies and gentlemen, before I bring the session to an end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the principal of SMK Bangsar, Puan Ramla binti Muda, the SLTs, HOD, MLTs, PTA, LEAP-ED officers Encik Aizuddin and Madam Florence, from the technical department, Mr. Rizal, Madam Noor Ain, and not forgetting the teachers of SMK Bangsar. Last but not least, our heartfelt gratitude to the three speakers on a job well done. If there are any questions or queries, kindly drop us a message and we'll get back to you. You can view the details of our social media account on the slide projected over here. Do have a pleasant day, everyone, and thank you once again for this session. Stay safe till we meet again. Bye, everyone.
Join Time Magazine's lead education reporter alongside global educators and advocates to explore the impacts of teaching forgiveness.
I teach forgiveness because it can have a positive impact in my students' families.
It helps my students thrive in the face of adversity.
Students who can forgive are happier.
Join us to hear from teachers and thought leaders on how and why to include forgiveness in your classroom.
rise will bring widespread devastation and unprecedented extreme weather.
New coronavirus cases emerge across the country.
Obesity rates have more than doubled in kids.
Cape Town is running out of water.